is the NWO. I don't know. We lost Hulk Hogan this year. I mean, look, regardless of what you think about Hulk Hogan, one of the biggest stars in wrestling of all time, the whole NWO Hogan's thing. I don't know how this video is going to tie together. Anyways, we're talking about the state of cinema in 2026, somehow. Also, these glasses, they don't actually have any glass in them. They just make me look smart, so I'm going to keep them on. But anyways, what do we all think about the state of cinema in 2026? I mean, we're looking at the CinemaScape right now. I mean, Avatar made a lot of money in its opening weekend in the 5-day period where it had initial screenings. So there is a market for cinema. Going into 2026, there's a lot of big releases coming out in 2026, such as Scream, such as whatever else. I can't think of what's coming else. But I looked at the lineup and there's a lot of big movies coming out in 2026. A lot of big franchises continuing on. Scream's just the one I'm looking for most too, so that's the only one that's at the top of my head at the moment. But when we look at cinema, everyone's freaking out about Warner Brothers, When we talk about Warner Brothers, and let me come in because I really like that blur in the background here. That's really cool. But when we talk about cinema in 2026, we look at the scape of Warner Brothers getting bought by Netflix, and everyone's been saying, what happens now? I mean, when we look at Netflix, we look at the whole scape of Netflix will obviously want streaming first. Now they're committing to cinema. They're committing to a theatrical release. They're saying they're not going to affect the theatrical release for Warner Brothers. But is that really the case? Because we've heard that so many times before from major streamers, especially during the COVID period, where COVID was the big thing around the world and everything was just getting released. I mean, Black Widow was released to Disney Plus. So this is not the first time we've heard about streaming services prioritizing streaming first. But it's the biggest in scale in terms of, this isn't something that just popped out of nowhere. This is something that's been coming for a while. Warner Brothers has been positioning itself for the past couple of years to sell, and we all knew this was coming. But what does it mean for cinema? Because, believe it or not, the theatrical cinema run of cinema chains, or what are they called? The Hollywood movie chains. It's bigger than just Warner Brothers and Disney. I mean, where is thing here? Where is my children's section or kids section or children's or whatever I call it? It's somewhere here. It's here, I think. But you have movies like, if I can get it out of the shelf, and I'm going to get it out of the shelf because it's really stuck in there. Movies like Sonic the Hedgehog from Paramount. Now, people were saying, oh, it would have been better if Paramount would have bought it because, Paramount are dedicated to cinema. Now, you can say what you will about David Ellison and all that stuff, but Paramount are putting movies in the cinemas. Another thing is with Universal. I mean, we've seen things like Jurassic World, for example. Let's just get any random Jurassic World out of here. So things like Universal, does it have Universal logo? It does have Universal logo. But things like Universal, I don't know if you can actually see that. It's gonna focus on me. But how is this video gonna tie together? Jurassic World, stuff like that. Universal's still releasing. So I don't think it's going to be the case of if Warner Brothers get out, it's going to affect much. Now, you might not have your Harry Potters there. You might not have your Scream. I mean, Scream is New Line Cinema, and I believe New Line is owned by Warner Brothers. If I'm correct about that, I might be wrong, but let's just check that. I know New Line is. Oh no, Paramount's got their logo on there. I don't know why Scream is Scream Paramount now. It used to be New Line Cinema, I believe. Either way, this is the big thing that a lot of collectors are focusing in on. What does it mean for cinema? What does it mean for stuff like, what does it mean for the stuff like the Oppenheimers of the world? Now, Christopher Nolan used to be with Warner Brothers till he left, till they really messed up his contract. Then he went and where does he work now? Universal. So he's a big director for Universal, but he moves around. Now, what happens when Christopher Nolan releases his next thing? I think, what is it? Is the Odyssey his? Oh no, that might be Steven Spielberg. I know Steven Spielberg has a movie coming out in 2026. But, what does this mean for cinema overall? I mean, I'm looking around here, I'm looking at my collection, and I'm going around and I'm looking and I'm saying, you know what? Cinema is in a good shape. It doesn't matter what the people say about the streaming options and the big streamers are coming to kill everything. The NWO is taking over the world, brother. I don't know what I'm doing. I sold all my belts, so this is really like, other than the kids' belts, I have the Jack Specifics ones, but I sold the big actual replica ones, so this is the last real one I have left, and I'm still even trying to sell this, but it's kind of cool. But But what do we think about cinema? I mean, are we really under threat? Is the state of cinema really in that bad of a position? Now, I'm looking around and I'm looking at stuff like TV shows that really should have become a movie. I'm looking at Mandalorian here. I'm looking at uh, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, yes, it's a longer sort of series, but you know, sometimes with those credits on Disney Plus, it really could be like a 40-minute, not even 40 minutes. Like with Loki, some of the episodes were even like what, 30 minutes, 20 minutes. So some of these things could have just been a movie. But we're seeing this prioritization of trying to get people to the streaming services, trying to get you to subscribe month after month after month after month. Because they obviously, you know, it's a business. They want to make money. They want you to stay on that streaming service. So when we look at the state of cinema, and I am talking very fast because I'm trying to do a longer video, but in a shorter period of time. So stick with me here, guys. I'm trying to talk fast, but, you know, I don't know. The subtitles are probably not going to keep up with this, but who knows? I'm experimenting. This is what the channel's about, having fun. But, you know, coming back here, stuff like, who owns the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Do we know who owns that? I've got the turbine steel one. This is the one without Dolby Vision, by the way. I don't know if that can focus in. That's the one without Dolby Vision. So this is like the first release on 4K before it had Dolby Vision, before it had any of that little, any of the added specs. This was a German release, I believe. But who owns the Texas Chainsaw Massacre overall? Is it Universal? This is number 177, so it was a limited release. So yeah, interesting. But, you know, overall, you still have your, what's the other one? There's one that made, oh, what's it called? There's a movie that was made recently, and it was Australian movie. I don't know what it's called, but it's made by what's it called? The other studio, the one who made Uncut Gems. If I remember correctly, it was the same people who made Uncut Gems. If I remember correctly. What's the studio called again? I know some of you are screaming out at me saying it's blah, but you know, I really should research these videos before I do them. It was made by A24. That's the one I'm trying to think of. I don't know why I couldn't think of A24. That's a cool release, by the way. Look at how cool that release is. Adam Sandler on the cover. Yeah, it's a really cool 4K release. Really, really cool. But anyways, this is such a random video. I've got also some things here. I've got like Universal's putting out American Pie. I got the American Pie release. I got Demolition Man. So these are really cool box sets, you know. But either way, you know, the state of cinema is not in a bad shape at the moment. It's not bad at all. Like, just because Universal, or not Universal, Warner Brothers, Disney and all that are showing signs that they're prioritizing streaming services, and the fact that Netflix now own Warner Brothers outright, and you know, Paramount's still trying to buy this thing. They're saying Comcast might even jump in now, but it's sold. It's going to Netflix. They have the capital to back it, you know. This is what I mean. What does it mean for the state of cinema? What does it mean for the state of 2026? What does it mean for you going to the cinema? Now, let me just come in here because I'm going to say this very carefully to you. What does it mean for the state of cinema in 2026? When you go into the cinema, and I know some of you will go and watch Avatar this weekend, there will be people who go like me to Scream, whatever the movie Scream is at the moment. I think Scream 6 was the last one. Might be correct, might not. I didn't care much for the last Scream because it didn't have Nev Campbell. It's like the Nev Campbell series without Nev Campbell. And they're getting Nev Campbell back. Yay! Although they killed Dewey, so what's the point? So, yes. All in all, what is your thoughts on the state of cinema in 2026? This has been a very random video. I don't know how it's all going to come together. I don't even know if this is going to work. I talked very fast. What do you guys think? We have beaten the 10-minute time limit, so that is what I tried to do. I tried to talk faster, but sound slower. And we did it. We need another Men in Black movie. I just looked at Men in Black, and we need to get Will Smith back in that record, like in that booth, making a song, because Men in Black 3 didn't have a song for it, and they needed like Black Suits Coming, but like a next version of that, and Men in Black. Will Smith needs to make movies again, needs to make music again, you know, Fresh Prince. Like, before he was a bigger time actor, he was the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and, you know, he had DJ Jazzy Jeff, I think was his DJ, and, you know, he was a big time, like, rapper back in the day, and we actually forget that about Will Smith. When he's slapping people at the Oscars, we forget this dude was, like, pretty big for his time. Anyways, I'm letting it go there because I want to beat this 10-minute time limit. Catch you in the next one. Peace. Let me know what you think in the comments.